What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis video. Alright guys, we're going to be making this for all the brand new players that are going to be jumping on Steam. So first off, welcome to Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis. We have a lot to cover today in this comprehensive brand new player's guide, which I think is going to be the most important step for you to understand the game and what to go for in the beginning. So the first thing we want to talk about, guys, is the initial launch of your game. So when you jump in the game, you're going to want to aim for a few different things. Now this here is my reroll guide. I'm going to talk to you guys about this real quick because I think it's important to understand how this works and what you want to go for. So the first thing you're going to be doing, a little bit of your spending most of your time actually in the beginning, is going to be re-rolling for the proper gear. So let's talk about the process itself. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, guys, when you jump into the game is when you jump on Steam, start the game off, do not link your data. Okay, so do not link data in the beginning. Just jump in here, tap start. You're going to go through a simple tutorial. Once you click onto that tutorial, say yes, you're over 16, say yes to add settings, and then you can skip the tutorial every time after the first time. Okay, so just skip the tutorial. You're going to go jump right into the end of the battle between Sephiroth and Cloud. You're going to put a name in, and it's, see right here, skip tutorial, say yes, put your name in, and then you're going to go right into the 10 draw, which is your first initial multi. Now this is very important that you guys understand this. This initial draw, you can net up to as many as all 5-star. You want to aim for at least minimum 3 to 4, and I'll go through which ones you want to go for. Okay, so once you click on here, click the mission guide, attempt it. Once you attempt it, you'll see you're performing your first draw. The animation screen will pop up with Cloud. And the way the animation screen works is pretty straightforward. Cloud will walk in either with the standard outfit here, which is the soldier outfit with his Buster Sword, or he'll come out with the Murasame outfit holding his Murasame. So if you have the Murasame outfit, you're guaranteed a 5-star, 1 minimum. With this, you're not guaranteed a 5-star, but based on the animation with the Iron Giant, it'll tell you what you're going to get. If he blocks this with his sword, that means you're less likely to get a 5-star right there. That's the worst animation you can get. If he dodges or if he parries, then you are in for a good treat. You can get up to 1 all the way up to, like I said, 8 to 10 5-stars, depending on your luck, of course. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, guys, is you're going to do this. You're going to avoid this right here. You want those gold globes to pop up with the character screens, and then you're going to get yourself some weapons. We'll talk shortly about weapons, what weapons you want to go for. Now, once you've done this and you don't get what you want, you just simply go through this, go back to the title screen. So right here, you're going to go to the title screen again. Okay, so in the settings, there's a title screen option. You're going to click on the buttons on top, and you're going to reset your data. Okay, so we're going to show you right here. You click on the little 3 icons on top there, and you're going to go ahead and reset game data. And then you're going to continue doing this until you get the pulls that you want. Okay, so that's step number 1. That nothing precedes that step. That is the first thing you want to do. Now, what weapons do you want to go for? So I'm going to go through a few major key weapons and why it's important to get these weapons in the beginning. So the first thing you want to do to make your life a lot easier, guys, I'm going to go into the wish list real quick, is get yourself a healing weapon, a 5-star healing weapon, one that does AoE healing specifically. So you're either going to go for Aerith's Fairy Tail. Aerith will be the best healer in the game, and that is going to look like this right here, this little Fairy Tail right there. You're going to either want to go for one of these, Fairy Tail. If you plan to use Matt as a first soldier as a main healer, you want to go for Prime Number. Where's that Prime Number? Right here. This sword. You're going to either want to, if you want to use Tifa as a healer, now granted she's not as strong as a healer, but still very viable, you want to go for the Lifeguard Wraps. And then lastly, if you want to get yourself Cloud as a healer, you want to go for the Crystal Sword. Okay, so these are all of your main healing weapons that you want to go for. One of those weapons need to pop up, ideally Fairy Tail. Aerith is the best healer in the game with the fastest animation and the strongest potency, so you probably want to have her as your main healer. Now, for your main DPS, it's up to you. There's a couple good options here. Cloud with the Murasame sword, if you're looking to use physical lightning damage. If you're looking to do water physical damage, then the Sea Splitter is another one you want to go for. If you're going to use Tifa as your main DPS, Motor Drive is going to be, sorry, not this one here. Motor Drive, where is that? Right here. One of your main DPS weapons for physical wind. If you plan to go non-elemental magic damage, then Power Soul. but ideally for her, you want to stick with debuffs, and we'll talk about that next. And then, of course, many of you are going to want to go with another main DPS like Sephiroth, and for him, you're going to want to use either the Dark Heavens, which is going to be your physical wind damage weapon, or you're going to want to go with the Edged Wings, which is going to be his main ice magical DPS. Okay, so those are the main DPS weapons you most likely want to go for and are the best ones in the game. And then lastly, you need a debuffer. So you want 3 weapons specifically: a 5-star healer, a 5-star DPS, and a 5-star debuffer. So these debuffing weapons are the best ones to go with. We're going to start with Tifa here. You want to either go with the Leather Gloves, which reduces physical attack, the Tiger Fangs, which reduces magical attack. Okay, and these are all things you can get later on as the game goes on. You can add them to your wish list. Okay, Barrett's here, Solid Bazooka. If you plan to use Barrett, very good weapon, Solid Bazooka. Another debuffing weapon here is the W Machine, which reduces physical defense. Cloud's Hard Edge, which also reduces physical defense. Right, I'm just giving you options for debuffing weapons. Sephiroth here with his Northern Lights, which also reduces physical attack. Or you have a couple other options with Zack here, which probably is one of the better ones here, with the Black Whisker, which will reduce physical defense and water resist. If you plan to use Zack, Red 13 has Sea Splitter, which can also be used here. Seaside Collar, which can reduce the Thunder resist and applies a regen. And then we have units like Matt, which also have Slick Beetle, for example, which also reduces physical attack. But ideally, the best debuffer in the game is going to be Tifa. So having the option to go with the Leather Gloves and the Tiger Fangs are your best bet. Now, once you get one of these, 3 of these weapons, you're ready to go. The next thing we should talk about are the characters. Every character is given to you for free. You want to focus on primarily 3 main characters, okay? As I mentioned earlier, you're ideally wanting to build a main DPS, a main healer, and a hybrid DPS debuffer. So the best 3 characters to fill those roles are as follows. Now, everybody can play most of the roles, but the 3 best characters for debuffer, hybrid DPS is going to be Barrett and Tifa. And I highly recommend choosing Tifa between the 2 of them, because she has the most amount, between the 2, she has the most amount of banners, which means most amount of weapon selections. The best DPS options are going to be Lucia, Cloud, and Sephiroth. Cloud more physical DPS, Lucia more physical DPS, Sephiroth more magical DPS. Aerith is a close second for magical DPS, but you want to use her as a healer, and your main healers are going to be Aerith, Cloud, Matt. Those are the best 3, or Tifa. Okay, so depending where you want to go, focus on one of the 3 characters in each of those roles. Primarily, Tifa, Cloud, and Aerith can do everything. Tifa, Cloud, and Sephiroth can do everything. Aerith, Cloud, and Sephiroth can do everything. Okay, so your choice. Pick 3 characters, focus on those guys, all right? That's going to be your number 1 goal. Now, when you get into the game, what's the first thing you want to do? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do, guys, is jump into the campaign, which is going to be under your missions. It's called a Jumpstart campaign, and start doing that. That will allow you guys to get yourself a lot of resources, including items that'll help you boost your Buster Sword, which is going to be early on one of the better weapons you're going to use very much with Cloud, especially, right? Especially if you plan to use Cloud. So do your Jumpstart. The second thing you want to do, guys, is work on the storyline. Everything is going to be filtered through the story. The story excuse me, the story is somewhere you're going to want to put most of your focus on, because of 2 reasons. Number 1, everything is locked behind the story. Okay, so as you progress through here, you're going to lock additional modes and different game modes that you're going to be able to progress through and gain yourself more crystals and resources, but without doing the storyline, everything is locked behind it. So a couple things to note about story. There are chapters for each of them. There's 4 chapters for the main story. There is 1 chapter for Crisis and 5 chapters for First Soldier, each of them giving you various different degrees of difficulties. And the one thing you want to note is, as you do these chapters, they're going to want you to use specific characters, and everyone gets EXP, including characters you're not going to be using. So if you start chapter 1, for example, you will start to use Cloud, and then eventually they're going to ask you to use other characters from the Final Fantasy series. If you don't want to use these characters because you don't have them leveled up or whatnot, you can click this little icon on top called Story Party and switch it to Free Party, and it'll allow you to use any characters that you have in your roster to finish these storylines. But the caveat is you will not get the bonus crystals along the way, which is fine. You can come back and do it with the proper characters at any time and save these crystals for later. But in the beginning, as a new player, you want to get as many of these as possible to boost your account, especially in the summoning department, okay? So focus on this, complete all of these chapters, and then get yourself some game modes unlocked and some crystals along the way. Very important to focus on that first, guys, okay? Once you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to solo content and you're going to have additional things open up. You're going to have daily quests, which allows you to get gil and certain weapon pieces. You're going to have enhancement quests unlocked, which is going to allow you to do weapon quests to get enhancement material for your weapons. Now, as you are doing these, keep note, every month there are 3 campaigns going on. Right now, the campaign is increases rewards obtained from weapon enhancement quests by 30%. There's 4 days left and applies to all players. These little icons are very important. Note them and farm usually what is given as a bonus at the time. So weapon quests are going to be available to you to farm, and they are as follows: weapon enhancement material to actually get the levels up. This is the material to evolve your weapons past a certain stage. So every 10 levels you can evolve them using material. These are going to be used. Nanocubes are for physical weapons. Genome pods are for magical weapons. Okay, so you're going to need to know that. So this is where you're going to farm this for most of the time. You're going to unlock training quests, which is going to allow you to get a character EXP stage. In the beginning, this character EXP at 0 stamina is going to be your best friend. You want to farm these as much as you can. Collect these blue crystals. You can see I haven't done them. I'm saving them for a rainy day. And then character EXP stage with stamina is going to be your fastest way of leveling. So if you're looking to level up quickly, this is where you're going to put most of your efforts and your stamina in, is getting these. Now, these pieces are also very important. This is going to be for your stats stream to level your character's stats up, and there's a whole tree that goes with it. We'll talk more about that when we get there, but this is where you farm a lot of these pieces, whether you want a general piece farming or a specific focus one, which gives you more of that piece that you're looking for, okay? So this is where you're going to do most of your farming for levels and stat stream. Your synthesis quests are going to be places that you're going to farm for recipes, for your materia, only a few of them, and then also for enhancement for your materia, as well as being able to level and evolve your materia. So this is all about materia, this section. This is fire, ice, lightning, earth, water, and wind. So a lot of you guys will be spending some time here once we go over the materia process in a whole different video. It's complex, and it is a true gacha system built into another gacha system. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then premium quests. You get 3 of these a day. Allows you to do premium quests for whether it's higher rate drops for nanocubes, higher rate drops for genome pods, or the ability to get yourself Final Fantasy 7, Crisis Core, or First Soldier character memories, which is for your stat stream. And again, we'll talk more about that. Every day, do 3 of these. They are absolutely worth it, and they are higher rate drops for items that you can't get anywhere else, okay? Summon Quest. This is where you will fight the 3 current summons that exist. There's Ifrit, Shiva, and Ramu. All hierarchy, the highest or lowest difficulty to the highest difficulty, okay? Each one of these are going to be available to you as you progress through the storyline, completing chapter 3, if I recall, the First Soldier will open up the ability to fight Ifrit. Once you've beaten Ifrit and you've gone through his modes, you'll unlock Shiva. Once you've beaten Shiva, you'll unlock Ramu. Each of these opponents will drop weapons for specific characters. So you can see here Zack, Glenn. These weapons are mostly stat sticks and not really used as main weapons, but they are good for free-to-play players to boost your stats. And we'll talk more about weapons and such through that. Now, as you beat them, you're going to be able to unlock their skills and use them as your limit breaks. These are going to be, most of the time, your main limit breaks that you use over the actual character limit break. So very important, guys. This is where a lot of your stamina dump is also going to go in understanding how to beat it. Now, I've got guides for free-to-plays to beat these opponents at a very low CP level, so check those out. But if you are looking for a comprehensive guide, again, I can remake one as usual, but I suggest checking out those guides. They do a great job at explaining how to beat these at a very low CP level, okay? So very important, guys. This is going to be a big part of your stamina dump, Trial of the Summons. All right, moving on. Battle Tower. this is a place that you're going to spend a lot of time in, so get used to it. There is no stamina requirement here. You can do these as many times as you want, with as many attempts as you want. Once you finish it, you move on, okay? So what this does is gives you a couple different things. Number one, every 5 floors, you're going to get yourself some crystals, so that's very important. And you're also going to be able to get yourself some of your Statstream character memory fragments to boost your character stats. So this floor currently goes up to 70, which is the hardest floor in the game. And it is a absolute crucial part of the game for you to get yourself your characters leveled and get yourself your character streams to advance your character stats. So this is a place you absolutely want to spend time in. We've got guides in the channel for you for some of the harder fights, so you can check that out, but that will also unlock for you. And definitely when you are bored and have nothing to do, Battle Tower is your best friend. Story quest. So this is actually a quest in which you can explore the hidden memories of each of your characters. There's only currently 3, and it is pretty much the story between Final Fantasy VII and currently like things that we've never seen before, right? So what happened to Cloud after he came back to Midgar, how did Tifa survive the attack with Sephiroth, and what happened to her after, and then of course Aerith's story. So do these, it's free crystals, free titles for your profile, great stories, fills in a lot of gaps of things we may have wondered about our characters. Currently these 3, and it's very fast to do. I would highly recommend getting those done. And then lastly, your dungeons. Now these are very, very important, of course. Criterion dungeons are your basic introduction to the dungeon system. They drop items, gacha tickets, and crystals. So absolutely do these. I've been saving these again for a rainy day personally for myself. And when I do need more crystals, I'll come back and do these. The 100% mark will allow you to beat all the enemies, find all the cactuars or the hidden items. Okay, these are very, very easy to do. So do these for sure. And then when you're ready to do something a little bit more advanced, the crisis dungeons come into play. Now these crisis dungeons are fueled by these tickets called dungeon keys, and every week on Sundays you get 3 new dungeon keys. Okay, these are super important to do. They will drop items, they will drop recipes for materia, they will drop mithril ore, which helps you get from level 80 to 90 on your weapons, which is the highest level currently. They drop material for enhancements, they drop blue crystals, and they give you an experience of a true RPG, right? So once you've completed them, they're also going to give you something called crisis medals. You're going to use these medals here to exchange for specific items. Every month, you're going to want to exchange for the Buster Sword copy. This is the only other way to level up your Buster Sword outside of using blueprints, which you don't want to do. So every month you're going to get yourself a copy of a Buster Sword that you can use 2,500 crisis medals for. You also can get these coveted breach materia, which you absolutely want to get. So the fire breach, the ice breach, and the lightning breach, and then a limited quantity of mithril ore. But this is going to be very important to do. You guys only want to do these one time, get your S+, because after that you only get very basic material from here. All the treasure chests are taken up. So one time S+, you move on. Every month they introduce a brand new event dungeon. There's 2 of them always that are very hard modes. They're more difficult, and they give you the most amount of mithril ore and crisis metals. So very important, guys, to use your keys here and get these done once you start and once you can tackle them. Okay, so that pretty much is the solo content. Co-op content, let's go through that real quick. Every week there's 3 new bosses usually introduced. Co-op is great for multiple things. Number 1, blue crystals. The more new players you play with a limited amount of them, you get yourself blue crystals as long as they're random players that you're participating with. Eventually that caps off and you won't get any more. Instead you get crisis medals, or sorry, co-op medals instead. Every time you fight a boss, you will have different various modes of that boss. So for example, normal 1, normal 2, hard 1, hard 2, very hard 1, very hard 2. Beating these once will net you these blue crystals every single time. So absolutely go through every single boss, guys, and clear these at the very least one time with random players to get yourself the most amount of blue crystals that you can. And then from there, you guys can farm any boss you need for the materials that they drop. Highly recommend doing so, because at the same time, you get yourself co-op medals. Now, these co-op medals can be exchanged for co-op items, which go from genome pods to for the X and Y, which are the more difficult ones, the Model 1 or the Model 2, some synthesis material for your materia, whether they're the purple or the blue ones, some grindstones, some pieces, and more importantly, blueprints for the characters to get their weapon levels up even further. So these are going to be the most important parts of doing co-op, but absolutely worth it. So co-op is going to be a place you're going to want to spend a lot of your stamina on to farm and get as much material and co-op medals and blue crystals as you can through going through that. Okay, so the events page, this is where all the big events happen. So whether it's the crisis threat or the critical threats, or the current Christmas, Halloween ones, or the dungeon rankings, or the crossover events, everything is going to be placed here, and you can farm these every single day. Most of your stamina, once you've caught up, is going to be spent here, okay? So the beauty of these events, they give you free weapons most of the time, which a lot of free-to-play players can max out completely, and they're going to be your stat sticks most of the time, and sometimes you'll actually use them. They do have exchange shops, which you can exchange for actual items that are very, very useful. So strongly recommend, guys, when there's an event, you pivot from summoning battles over to event, and you use your stamina pots on events to clear out the shop as much as you possibly can, getting as much of the items as you can from the event shops. Also very important to note, there are daily missions as well as event missions. Do these every single time, and also a storyline that usually goes along with it. So you should be focusing on completing the story and the battles of every event. All right, so these are going to be happening very often. You'll see them on my channel all the time, and this is something that is always giving us something to do. All right, so that is the event tab. So that's going to be your main focus once a new event is out. You stop everything else from stamina and you focus on events. All right, then Chocobos. We're going to talk about Chocobos real quick. This is going to be a pretty big part of your growth in the beginning. So Chocobos give you numerous different things. Blue crystals if you find rare items with your Chocobos. They give you material for Materia enhancement, for weapon enhancement, and they also give you EXP. So this is a place you definitely don't want to ignore. Try to get 3 Chocobos right away. It doesn't matter what their grades are, as long as they give you guys Chocobo medals and Materia items as well as grindstone items, etc. for weapons. That's what you want to go for. So as you increase your levels with your Chocobos, guys, there's going to be numerous things you need to know. So right now the highest level for Chocobo is a C+. That will increase as well. Chocobo farming works as follows, okay? You can use Chocobo boosters to increase the rate of how much items a Chocobo can get and how fast. So let's do 10 here. I'll show you guys. So Lucia here is currently tied to a C Chocobo who is currently in the Papadeli Sea Cave. That is a river Chocobo. That's what this icon means. And this is a mountain Chocobo with him. And the sea level obviously is going to have better stats than the D+ and the E+. Okay, so once I've collected 25 of 25, you're going to click on this and it's going to give you guys the following: EXP, rare items that they acquire throughout the way, and other items along the way as well too, right? Whether it's pieces, materia, etc., right? So things to note. Every Chocobo here has different qualities, okay? So depending on the grade of the Chocobo, we're going to show you guys real quick, they can do the following things. So this here is considered a regular Chocobo, this little foot icon, okay? So in the beginning, you're going to just do Midgar, Midgar 2, and Midgar 3. You can use regular Chocobos to do that. But as you advance through the grasslands into Wutai, Wutai changes the icon into a mountain icon. So you're going to need to buy yourself a mountain Chocobo. So that's what you want to save for at that point. And once you've done Wutai, you go to the Archipelago? I'm saying this so wrong. Rador, and that's going to be the river Chocobos, okay? So you want to use the river Chocobos then and save up for them. Now, as I mentioned before, the way this works is you collect these Chocobo medals and you can exchange them in the exchange shop here for Chocobos called the exchange section. And here you're going to want to hunt for primarily the highest Chocobo that you can get. So you can see here there's a C Chocobo with mountain. I could use that, but ideally I want to save for a C+, okay? So you guys can see here, you get 3 refreshes a day. Make sure you're looking for the best quality one you can get to boost up the most amount of EX. There we go, there's a C+, so we're going to go ahead and grab this. Okay, there we go, we got a C+ finally. I've been actually hunting for one for a while. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back here. We're going to go to the expedition. We're going to go to the mountain because that's what we got it for. And we're going to actually switch. So these are the 3 mountain options I have for Wutai 1 or Wutai 2. You can choose whichever one you want. My percentages are 97% done and 88% done. So maybe I want to focus on here. We're going to go ahead and put Zach in here, right? Pick this Chocobo. You can see here, EXP rate up, gil rate up, drop rate for rares are good. And we're going to go ahead and pick Zach and we're going to depart. And now we've got a C+ Chocobo helping Zach out, getting more items along the way. And if we click on here, and again, we just boost it all the way through, we give Zach the ability to get a little more EXP. There you go, 21k, and some more rare items for this Chocobo to collect. So there you guys go. That's how this works. Very important to note the type of Chocobo you're getting, and the grade will matter, and the stats are randomized, by the way. So you can check out my Chocobo guide as well for full explanation on all of that, okay? So now that we've gone over all of the basic game modes, what next? Okay, so you're going to be grinding quite a bit. This game is all about grind. And as you grind, you're going to grow. And as you grow, you're going to open up these stat streams. Okay, this is what I was talking to you guys about before. This is why it's so important to focus on maximum 3 units at a time in the beginning. So let's say you focus on Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, okay? And these are the units you want to get up. So when you switch over to here, you're going to have a few different things you're going to note. As you progress through the levels, you're going to open up additional stat streams, which is going to give you stats. Now, understanding how this works is very important because these character icons that you get called fragment memories are very rare and they shouldn't be used for everything, okay? So if you're going to build Cloud as your main DPS, just note he's a better physical DPS than he's a magic DPS. So as you go through this, you're going to want to do the following thing. Choose the icons you plan to use him for most. Don't split them up too much. So for example, the heart icon is your HP. That's a standard universal icon that everyone should have. This icon here is your healing icon. If Cloud's not going to be your main healer, don't bother leveling that up. You have to in the beginning to get past this first one, but as you get through it more and more, it's going to matter what you choose, okay? So here, for example, you don't need to go all the way up here to this. This was a mistake on my end. I could have stopped here, and that would have been good enough for me, right? This physical one I want all the way because, again, this is giving him more physical attack. Now, as I progress, I see magical attack. If my Cloud is not going to be a big magical user, then you don't want to go all the way up here and waste your stat stream icons, right? You just want to focus on how you want to build your character. So very important, guys, to note that. Also, you don't have to build your limit breaks if you don't want to because most people will use the summons in place of their limits, and those are going to be a lot more important. See here, I kind of wisened up a little bit and I started avoiding the magic side and I started going up only towards the physical side for my character. See, there you go, I avoided that one. And the reason why is, look at this, it takes 20 of these fragments to get 3 stats here that I'm never going to use with Cloud, right? So very important, guys, as you go through the stat stream to understand how you want to build your character and avoiding the unnecessary things that you need. Now, as I mentioned before, those limit breaks can be avoided. Early on, they're going to be fairly important, actually. So go with the main ones at least for a little while, but then start focusing on your actual summon stat streams, which is going to help you build your summons and unlock massive damage dealing limit breaks, such as Judgment Bolt, Hellfire, or Diamond Dust, right? So every summon has a first initial skill that you get, which is a non-AoE, and then eventually you will unlock the AoE version of that skill. So summon stream is very important as well, and that's where you're going to use all of your farming that you did for your summons, all right? Enhancements. This part here is going to be a big part of the game as well. Enhancement, you can enhance your weapons and your materia. So whenever you get a brand new weapon, there's 2 forms of enhancement, okay? You can enhance the actual enhancement of the level. So you can see here, in order to get over to level, sorry, let me go over here. In order to get from 80 to 90, I have to use Mithril Ore, and this will boost certain attributes. We'll go through enhancement a little more thoroughly later on. And then there is, of course, the rarity, which is your overboost. That's the dupes that you have for your weapons. Overboost will boost the star level of your weapons. When you go overboost 6, you increase the level, the damage of your C ability, which is your combat ability right here. When you go to OB10, you also, that's overboost 10, which is all pink. That's the highest level you can go. Then you go into the plus stuff, which is irrelevant really at that point. You can also boost the combat ability. So combat abilities get boost for over 1. So OB1, which is 1 red star. So here, let me highlight this a little easier. You guys can see it this way. If you hold down a sword, you guys can see it here, okay? So if you can see here, it's 400% with 5 stars. When you go here, it goes 620%, which is OB6. This is considered OB6, so that's one pink star in. And then OB10, which is the maximum OB that you really need, pushes it to 750, okay? And these stats will also be increased down here called R abilities. These are your passive abilities that you get. Again, we'll go through this a little more thoroughly. And then, of course, the support materia. So in the enhancement page, you have the option to level up your weapons, and you have the option to overboost your weapons, which is use your duplicates to increase the star levels. Very important. You're going to be spending a lot of time here, and you're going to be farming a lot of materials to do that, okay? Materia is another thing here you're going to do. Materia can be leveled up as well too. You will be, we'll go through a whole new materia guide on this. I think it needs to happen. So you're going to synthesize materia, and once you've done synthesizing it over a set amount of time, you claim that materia. That materia becomes either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 stars. Usually 1, 2, and 3 is where you're going to get. Once you get those materia, you're going to have random substats. You ideally want to aim for percentages. The only ones that can't be percentages are magic defense and physical defense, but everything else can be percentages, from heal to physical attack to magic attack to HP. And then when you do that, you want to go back to your materia slot here, and you want to level up that materia that you are actually going to use So for example, let's just say I want to use, let's just pick a random one here. Let's do this one, okay? Once you enhance it, either using the existing materia that you don't want, right, to give it a level up from 2 to 5 right there. You see 3 to 5. Here we'll go 5 to 5. And we'll enhance. You guys can see the substats here now are going to change as well. I'll get a brand new 4th one unlocked. There it is, magic defense. And then FP attack went up. Now, if you don't want this materia, you don't upgrade it. Upgrading will allow you to change from Blizzard Blow to Blizzero Blow, giving it more power, but also the very minute chance of upgrading the rarity from 3 to 4 to 5 stars. It's completely random. You go from 1 to 5 right away, but it's super, super rare. If you don't want the materia, you stop here. Again, we'll do a full brand new materia guide for you guys in a whole separate video. And then lastly, guys, the party. This is where you set up your party before you jump into a battle, or you can do it during the battle itself. The party consists of 3 people always. You can bring 1, 2, or 3. It's your choice. You can go into here and rename the party to what you want. So for example, you have a fire build, ice build, thunder build, etc. You can delete the party if you don't use it anymore. Very important to note that. You can click on the bonus details. It'll tell you what bonuses you're getting currently with the gear that you have. So for example, the crossover event's going on. It'll tell you the bonuses that you get using the crossover event items. And then never, ever, ever, I'm going to say this now for you guys, use the following. Never use a recommended party. Never do it. The game is absolutely atrocious at building a party for you with a proper setup. Build it yourself, save it. Never use best equip. Also, absolutely atrocious. Never use this, okay? Build your character based on this. The way you build characters is you choose an outfit. If you have an extra one, you equip it. If you like the certain stats, equip a limit break or a summon. So make sure this is how you do it here, right? You equip that on. Equip the weapon as your primary weapon, which will get the full stats. A secondary weapon, which will get half the stats, but still be able to use the full combat ability, so the C ability. In this case, Hard Edge reduces physical defense down. It's still going to be full ability on that, but all the stats are going to be half. When you go to sub-equipment, these are also going to be driven by how you want to build your character, and it takes half of the R abilities and half of the stats to build your character here, okay? And all the abilities that you choose are going to be listed down here as well too as R abilities. So very important, guys, to note how to build a character. Again, I will do a full guide on this for you. And then equipping your materia, understanding that your main weapon has 3 support materia that you can unlock. Each of these will do different things. So for example, this one here will increase the physical ability of that materia by 20%. So you want to equip a physical materia. So the word blow indicates physical, by the way. That's your cue. Will give you guys 20% more damage using this. If you use Materia Blow here, which is also 20% more physical damage, we'll increase this by 20% more. And then also lastly, there's these special ones called Sigil Boost, which when you use this sigil during a boss phase, when they're in their sigil break phase, this will do an extra 2 count rather than 3. You'll get 5 off that sigil. So equipping the proper sigil there will increase the amount of sigil break you do. So things that are very important in the game to understand, and you will as you play the game. So again, I have our ability guide set up for you. It fully explains how our abilities work. Check that out and we'll go from there, okay? When you build a co-op team, you're going to also note that a co-op team only exists of 1 character. Make sure you build multiple different kinds with healers, DPS, and debuffers with various elements. Rename them so you know exactly what you're going to with what co-op party you're going to be helping, okay? And then finally, the draw. The draw is your place to summon. This is going to be where you're spending all of your time getting your new weapons. Make sure you adjust your wish list. I have done a full wish list video already in terms of what you want to do as a brand new player. I can link that as well in the description. But this is where you choose what you want on your wish list, and these are a higher chance to be acquired through the summoning section, as long as you understand that the banner you're summoning for will be introducing 2 new weapons. For everyone that's brand new, your goal in this game is not to get the weapons necessarily, it's to get the costumes. So you're summoning for the costumes. They don't reappear once they're gone. There's no other place to get them. So when you're summoning for something, understand if you want the costume, that should be your priority. Weapons come second. Most weapons, if they're not crossover event weapons, will be added to the wish list in the future, so you can use them or you can summon for them right away. The costumes are not added, okay? There are multiple different forms of summoning. Make sure you understand what you want to summon for. There's usually multiple banners running at the same time. I usually do reviews on them, so you can check those out as they come. And then there's also a ticketing system here that you can use to get 4-star plus weapons. There's 5-star weapons you can sometimes get from events, or you can purchase using real life money. And then there's also the regular gacha tickets, which don't include all the weapons, by the way. They're a little behind always, but they still have enough of the good ones that you still want to summon for them. So these can be acquired through events or crisis dungeons or other ways, methods like logging in, for example, right? So there you guys have it. That's essentially it. If you click on the details and odds, you guys can see the odds of every weapon that can drop. The odds are right over here. There's 7.5% chance to get yourself a 5-star, 22.5 with 4-star, and 70% chance to get 3 stars. Just so you are aware, every copy of every weapon out there can start. It starts with a 3-star, can become a 4-star, can become a 5-star if you use the blueprints or dupes for it. So if you only get a 3-star for a fairy tale, it will not do the same skill as a 5-star. It only does a single heal versus a 5-star, which is an AoE heal. So that's why it's so important to start off with the right weapons. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a lot of information. Feel free to hit me up in the comment section. We have a great community. Join the Discord. We're more than happy to help people out. For those who are just joining brand new in Steam, welcome to the game. I'll be doing more guides for you guys to help you understand the game better, but there are a lot already existing on my channel, so check them out on the playlist and go from there. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Take care.